talking about Shannon's relationship, everyone talks about Shannon's relationship. And the person that talks about Shannon's relationship the most is Shannon.
Well, Heather, it is so good to see you, as
You
always,
too.
in person. We've been doing this over Zoom for years.
I know. Well, it's great to see you in your Barbie pink.
Thank you, and you look
Love it.
absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Before we get into everything, I have to ask you how Terry's doing, what happened. Sounds like it was a really scary experience, but glad that he's doing okay.
Yeah, thank you. It was very scary, and thank God he's okay. And what's really great is what he has was so fixable. So he had a PFO, which is basically a hole in your heart. So if you have some kind of clot in your lower extremities and it goes up, it crosses over between the two sides of the heart and can go up into the brain.
Oh my God.
But patched, easy fix. It's actually it's what Hailey Bieber had.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And he had no idea that he had something
No,
like this.
no idea. And it was a really scary experience and something that we would have shared eventually, but honestly, I think I'm still in shock about the whole thing. And my son Nick was with us, and it was quite an evening.
Yeah, well, he said that you saved his life. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I'm sure it probably doesn't even feel like it really happened at this point because you're like still talking about it, still processing it.
I am, and I cannot stress this enough. That early intervention is the thing. If you have a family member, you see someone slurring or becomes out of it for a while, you must get to a hospital because with this hole, had he thrown a second clot, it could have killed him. Only 1 in 5 people, live from these kinds of events.
Unbelievable.
It's terrifying. But he's good.
He's good.
He's great.
He's back on his feet.
He's feels stronger and more powerful than ever. And I have scheduled my breakdown for September 8th.
Is that the day of?
It's after the reunion.
After the reunion?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I have a few things to get through before then. So I got to make sure Terry's still good, which he is. He's great, back at work, doing amazing.
Good.
I got get the kids back in school.
Right. You got a lot going on.
A lot going on. Just got this new house we're working on so much, and then the reunion, and then I'm going to have a breakdown.
Then you're going to have a breakdown, and hopefully a very large a glass of wine.
Oh, that ship sailed a
right,
while
yes.
ago. Yes.
Well, you deserve a break, not a breakdown, a break after all of this. Well, I'm glad he's doing
honestly,
well.
I'm just so, obviously, so grateful. So grateful. And grateful to the doctors that took care of him and his friends. And you know what, another really good thing to know is Terry and I had a protocol. If something happens, here's who you call. And I called his friends who were very smart doctors. And when he wasn't listening to me, that he would listen to them, and we worked as a team.
Yeah. Did you notice something off with him that day?
You know what's so crazy is that he, the day before, had this aesthetic procedure done. He had a microneedling thing,
Right.
Yeah, so because we were coming to do press. And so he's like, I'm going to make myself look glamorous and fabulous. And so he didn't look like himself anyway, so I'm not sure I noticed anything before the actual event happened. But he is talking about it, and I really want to be respectful of the fact that it's his story.
Of course, yeah.
And so he'll tell it, and I'm just going to drink.
Yes, as you
That's
should.
gonna
Well,
be
I'm
my
glad
part.
that he is doing much better.
Thank you.
And tell him that we miss him.
I will.
And a speedy recovery.
Thank you. But don't forget to watch Botched!
Yes.
New season!
It's so good. I watched the first episode. It's fantastic. I
Wasn't
loved
it
Yes,
good?
so good.
Yes. I watched it in the hospital.
Yeah. Oh, no. I love that he got so emotional about, the first story and, relating it to his kids and things like that. I mean, what's it like? I mean, even 20 plus years later, just seeing him get so emotional about his children.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so lucky. We've got these 4 amazing humans that we're raising, and I've really loved each stage. They say it goes by fast. It doesn't. But I loved the baby and the toddler and the little kid and the whole thing. But now at this age, it's so incredible, the relationships you have with them and the conversations and all of it. It's amazing, and I love seeing him with them.
Definitely.
Like that.
And in the beginning of the season, you had a bit of a transition because your kids are going off to college. You're like half empty nester at this point. I mean, now that the kids are about to go back to school, second year, you're kind of used to it. How do you feel about it now?
We had a great summer. Everyone, there was a lot of kids in and out of the house with camps and programs and things and trips and whatever. But it's been really nice to have everyone back. I'm sad that Max goes to school far away, but I do, plan trips, and she comes home, and so I'll see her, and thank God for technology.
Sure, definitely.
We can talk and FaceTime and all of that. Nikki I see all the time. Actually, Nikki's helping me with my new real estate project.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's great.
Which is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
I know Max had a bit of a transition into college. How does she feel about going back for her second year?
Yeah, she's so excited.
Good.
It's funny, as much as I prepared the kids for college, I forgot to tell them that freshman year is incredibly hard.
Yes, it is.
For everyone.
So hard.
And it was, boy and a girl, very different kids. Nikki started hot and had a dip in the middle, and Max started sort of dipped and came up at the end. So they both had their different journeys, but both ended up really happy and great.
Yeah.
So, my advice to parents is you really have to remind them, because I forgot, I gained 30 pounds.
Yes.
I was rethinking my whole
Freshman
career.
15, yeah.
I was so excited to be away from home, and then I missed home. All those things, and you're starting a new school, and you're living in a new city, and you're meeting new people, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
To take on, even for the most confident kid. So yeah, they've done really well.
Good. And you and Terry create such a loving and supportive household for your children. And I know that you shared Ace's story back in March. How has that been for Ace? And has he gotten the support that he so needed?
I think with all of my kids, we just try to build, bring an environment of love and just be there for them, and try to put them in situations where they're going to succeed, and put them in environments with friends and schools where they're going to be loved and taken care of.
Yeah, that's so great. I'm so happy. Did you ever think your IMDb page would be such a topic of conversation this season?
Lordy. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? What I will tell you is I've gotten so many DMs from actors near and far, just saying, wow, what a thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't nice.
No.
And then to take it a step further, after that whole Tadaram was over, I went on Watch What Happens Live, and I was asked a viewer question about Taylor's acting. And I said, I thought she did a great job. I really did. I thought she did great, the whole thing. And then she put some not very kind things on social media that it baffles me.
Yeah. What has surprised you the most this season, watching it back so far?
How south everything went for me. I had no idea. And I don't even think I understood in the moment how south everything was going. And just when I thought it was safe to go back in the water, it was not.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'm a moron. I had no idea. It has been very sad for me to watch Tamara's comments, because I had no idea from moment one, from the very first episode, she was saying things that were really not nice about me.
Yeah. Do you feel like she was two-faced to you this season?
Well, clearly, because she was saying one thing to my face and another thing behind my back. And, that's hard. There's this whole narrative that I'm talking about Shannon's relationship. Well, you notice, do you ever see me talking about Shannon's relationship?
I really haven't. No, that's what we were talking about. I'm confused as to, because it seems like a lot of people are talking about Shannon's relationship, so I don't know why it's all pinned on you.
And they all brought it on camera.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that part of it, right? But what's interesting is everyone's saying, Heather's saying it, but I want you to pay close attention to conversations that Emily has with Shannon and everyone has with each other. And you'll see that that's not true.
Right. I think you say in the mid-season trailer that you were kind of like the whipping boy this season.
Yeah.
And you really feel like that.
I do. And, we filmed this about a year ago.
Sure.
And, you remember things, you don't, you block it, but I watch the episodes, like this and see what happens. But some things are exactly as I remembered them, and some things I didn't even remember being so clear. Like when I pulled Emily aside to talk to her, my memory was that she pulled me aside. So I was proud of myself. I'm like, I'm so glad you did that. Yes. Good for you.
Right, yeah. No, it is interesting that so many people are kind of pinning this on you. And were you surprised about the reaction that Shannon had? Basically screaming I'm normal, I have a great relationship. Based on her reaction, were you kind of like, well, clearly something's wrong.
I think you hear some of the girls saying that. Why is she so defensive? You know, thou doth protest too much. There's that kind of thing. I understand not wanting your relationship to be scrutinized. I understand why it's upsetting to her. But, I mean, a couple of things. First of all, we are on a show where we talk about our lives, our friendships, each other's lives. And I said this in the episode, but there is a difference between talking about someone and talking against someone.
One of my new favorite, the quotes.
Right?
Love it.
Because it's true. And I, even though Shannon does, you know, she's not very into me. She does not care for me. I really care about Shannon, and I just want her to be happy. And that's all I ever wanted.
Based on what's happened with her and John, do you feel like she owes you an apology now?
I don't want an apology. I don't need an apology. Literally, I just want her to be happy. But it would be nice for people to understand, and I do think the audience sees it, that, you know, I'm not talking about Shannon's relationship. Everyone talks about Shannon's relationship. And the person that talks about Shannon's relationship the most is Shannon.
Yeah. Right. It's like almost like she kind of forgets what she tells people and then doesn't want it to be thrown back in her face.
Right, yeah, I mean, the cast, the crew, friends, like everyone.
Right, well, she said on Watch What Happens Live that you planted seeds on and off camera and that she was irate about that. What's kind of your response to that?
Yes, I'm so, I mean, it's silly.
Yeah.
And why would I do that to her? We hung out so much before this season, like in between seasons. We hung out so much, and it was like, we would run into each other, we'd end up having dinner, we'd hang out. I loved it. I really did, and I really enjoyed her friendship. And you'll see throughout the second half of the season, I tried very hard to prove my friendship to her and to try to get back on track with her. I tried many times.
Yeah. Is this a friendship that you do want to get back on track now, or do you feel like that ship has sailed?
I honestly don't know. I don't think she's interested. And I've tried so many times at this point, and she's still out there saying the same narrative that, you know, everything's my fault. So I saw a clip from Watch What Happens Live when she was on, and someone asked, why is it okay for Tamara to talk about Jen's relationship, but Heather can't talk about your relationship? And she sort of fumbled a little bit and then said it was different, and that Tamara didn't talk about Jen's relationship. It was Emily and Gina's fault. So it's like, I mean, if you hear her talk, it's like she's always right, Tamara's always right. Like, no one's always right. I'm not always, no one's always right.
Right. You know, she also said, I think on Watch What Happens Live, that, you know, she's a better housewife than you because she's more authentic and real and things like that.
Whatever.
But do you think that, like, when you're not putting your relationship out there and you're not being honest with the audience, doesn't that make you not authentic and real? And
yes, and I think that was a problem that other cast members were complaining about, was like, we have to show our lives, why aren't you showing yours?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that was definitely an issue. And by the way, I don't like the competitive nature of those kinds of things. There's been, you know, I heard Tamara or her, maybe Teddy, I don't know, people were talking like, who had the more iconic return, who's the this is housewife, the hottest, the this, the most successful, the most followers. I don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like, can't we all be successful?
Right, can't we all just get along?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all women. We need to support each other and each other's businesses. I didn't like that Tamara was talking negatively about Fireside, which is, you know, I launched this network, the HD network on Fireside with Fallon Fatimi and Mark Cuban, and I've been working on that a long time, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. Where is it going? I don't know. You know, we this is what we do. We try things out and we see how they go. But there used to be a code: no careers, no kids. Yeah. There's no code.
Right. That was what was in the vault.
Yeah.
Are you going to say goodbye to OC? I know that you sold your home. You're in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. Is this? Are you ready to close the chapter on this and maybe move over to Beverly Hills Housewives? Because I know a lot of people maybe will want to cross over. But after this season, are you kind of like, I'm exhausted?
Well, I am exhausted. Yeah. That's for sure. I told you I scheduled my breakdown for September.
Yes.
So we're still in Orange County.
Okay.
We still have a home there. We Terry's practice is still there. All of that. So and we've been going back and forth between OC and LA for years. This was actually, this place that we just bought in Beverly Hills was the 7th house I tried to buy.
Wow.
So it wasn't really about the location, because I did read some stories that I bought a house so I can go to Beverly Hills Housewives. Like, seriously?
Like,
I had to spend that much money to join a show that pays nothing. Like, I don't think that was on the table. But so, you know, one of the houses was in OC, one was in Mexico, one was in the desert. Like, but this is the project that, like, the universe brought to me. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be a 3-year project. So there is some time there. I have no idea what the future is going to bring. I am exhausted from this season. I have been texting with almost all of the girls or seen them, almost all of them.
Okay.
I don't think anything is ever irreparable unless you come after my family.
Yeah.
Then that would be a problem.
Did somebody do that this season?
Well, we'll have to see.
We'll have to see. And then, you know, when I was speaking to Terry last week,
And he's so cute.
He's so cute. He's so. I love talking to Terry and Dr. Nassif as well. They're always so much fun together. He was backing Ozempic very hard. So, you know, saying it's better than Botox, things like that. What are your thoughts on that? And then also Emily, you know, coming forward and saying that she was on Ozempic as well.
Yeah. So I'm over this whole Ozempic shaming thing, and I'm also over people asking, are you on Ozempic?
Sure, yeah.
Would you ask someone, are you on a beta blocker? Cholesterol? What are your statins? What's that looking like? It's your private medical information. I don't think it's anyone's business. I also think, in my opinion, that Ozempic, Mounjaro, all these things, I mean, they seem to be working wonders for people in the diabetic space, and now they're being tested, FDA tested for weight loss and all of that. I think it's going to end up being like Botox was. Remember when Botox first came out?
Totally.
So I remember, I think Terry and I had been married like a year or two, and InStyle magazine interviewed me and they said, what's the strangest thing you have in your refrigerator? And I said, Botox. And everyone was like, ooh! She said, Botox. And I was like, hey, I'm married to a plastic surgeon. I get injected every couple of months. It's good.
Totally.
And now, you know, you can't spit in New York City and not hit a Botox center on a street corner. I mean, it's everywhere. They do it literally everywhere. And everyone's fine talking about it. I feel like these miracle weight loss drugs are going to end up being the same thing. Plus, back in my day, what did we do? I took Dexatrim, I smoked cigarettes, and I drank Diet Coke. Oh, that was healthy.
Right.
Great plan.
Great plan. And then finally, you are obviously a very business-savvy woman, but Bethany Frankel has been speaking out a lot about this reality TV union. What are your thoughts on that?
I am a union member.
Yes,
I'm in
of course.
SAG-AFTRA and Equity, and I think conversations like this are incredibly important and needed. So I'm glad that this conversation has been started and will continue. And, you know, I think Bethany's an amazing person, and she is so good at advocating for the underdog and the underserved, and that's what she'll continue to do.
Definitely. Well, Heather, it's always great catching up, as always.
So good seeing you.
So good seeing you, too. And I'm so glad Terry's okay.
Thank you.